Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Kelly Stewart, joined by Teddy Covers at Teddy_Covers on Twitter, and Ralph Michaels at CalSportsLV. Make sure you guys are giving them a follow. We're gonna keep going here with our college football preview. Number 8, Florida, Teddy. This is kind of a team that I keep hearing rumblings about. Sharp guys like this team?
I think so.
I think so too, but I don't know what I quite make of it.
Well, look, I mean, Dan Mullen has won everywhere he's been, flat out. You know, he's a coach that has earned, and deservedly so, a lot of respect in the betting markets over the years. And not just in his tenure at Mississippi State, even dating back to his coordinator days. You know, a team that went 3-8 ATS in 2017, went 9-4 ATS in 2018. And all I'm worried about, everyone's, oh, are they going to win the national championship, the SEC? I don't care. Are they going to cover point spreads?
Yes.
That's the issue with Florida. And after a year like they had last year, where they go, you know, covering numbers week after week, really coming on strong down the stretch. Felipe Franks,
yes,
who all of us had question marks about a year ago at this time, now, you know, coming on strong down the stretch. A defense that was pretty darn good against some quality foes in November and beyond. There's certainly the potential for Florida to be an SEC elite this year and still make their backers money.
Do you notice that Teddy lowered my chair, so I'm looking up at Teddy?
And I'm
actually,
like, are you taller than Teddy? You actually are taller than Teddy.
You lowered your chair when you sat in it.
Oh, that's my big butt lowered it. That could have been, but
no.
You know, looking up at Teddy, I agree with him with Mullen, and you know, I love Dan Mullen. What he did at Mississippi State, recruiting against the other SEC guys and playing close to on par with, you know, besides the Alabamas, with the next level of kids. Now, I am not as high on Florida for this reason. Everyone talks about Dan Mullen in his first year. Let's remember, he had 19 returning starters last year. That's a whole different story, coming into a program that was down, lost a lot of close games, turned it around. People weren't expecting that type of performance, and then you have that. He was only plus 23 yards per conference play, so that doesn't translate into a 10-win team like they were. This year, only 13 returning starters, 5 on the offensive side, and the big concern for me is not only do they lose 4 offensive starters, they lost 4 offensive linemen starters, 4 offensive linemen starters that had 34, 44, 27, and 33 career starts. Those 4 people had 111 career starts. That's much different than replacing 4 offensive linemen starters that were there for 1 year. So that is a negative for me. You know, and then you look at the schedule. Miami wasn't the same Miami team. I think they're improved. Florida State wasn't the same team last year. They're improved. Their crossover games last year, they had LSU at home, who they beat, and they had Mississippi State on the road. This year they have to go to Death Valley, and they get Auburn. So the crossover games are more difficult. And while I don't think it comes to this, if they struggle early and maybe lose to Miami in the opener, and they got a lot of close games. Tennessee's improved, at LSU, at South Carolina, Georgia, at Missouri, Florida State. There's like 6 games there where they could win or lose, or they're in that between that 6 range. Remember, they do have to win 7 games to get to a bowl because they play UT Martin and Towson. They play 2 FCS teams, so only 1 counts as a bowl eligibility. I think they're going to get past the 6 or 7, but they will have some pressure on them late if that's the case, playing the 2 lower conference teams.
2 things worth noting. The offensive line, where they lost 141 career starts. The OL coach, John Hevesy, is a guy who's been with Mullen since his Bowling Green days.
Wow.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So there's a continuity there between the offensive mind and his OL coach. I don't know if he's been the OL coach the whole way, but there's a chance that this new line might still be really good, even though they lost 141 starts off of it, which means that Florida will be undervalued coming out of the gate. I'm watching that OL very closely in that Miami game. If they perform well, and they might, I think there'll be a bet on right out of the gate. The second thing is 2 of their losses last year, I mean, Kentucky and Missouri.
Yeah.
Those are teams they're supposed to beat. You know, outright upsets. They beat Mississippi State, LSU, and Michigan. They're not going to be dogs often this year.
You know, and just a point on your O-line, they do have a transfer coming in. They have a couple guys that have made a few starts, and they signed 23 kids to their class this year. 7 were offensive linemen, knowing where they had the weakness, and obviously they addressed the issue. They just have to get those kids to meld.
All right, great stuff from both guys. Don't forget that any 5% best bet is backed by our 150% wager buck guarantee, where you get 150% back in the purchase price in credit to use at WagerTalk.com.